Welcome to Insight Builder channel. Executives New Edge. AI-enabled IDEs is your new business command center. Part 2. In the last video, I had discussed about the call to action for senior leaders as well as the junior developers and tech and non-tech mid-level and mid-senior level managers. In this discussion, I am going to dive into a couple of interesting areas. In the last video, I had informed that I had asked Windsurf for business use cases, and it had given me a list of 50 tasks that non-tech and no-coding executives and business members can do, right? We are going to dive into that. Apart from that, we will also look at varieties of information regarding AI IDEs and the business use cases that Windsurf itself had given us. It's pretty eye-opening, and let's dive into it. So first is I would go into the AI IDE landscape as well as the AI IDE task landscape. So what I mean by these things. The data and the presentation that I'm going to give, everything is located inside this link, inside the GitHub repo, and all the presentations are made out of Markdown files. It's not using any kind of presentations, PPT materials. It's using open source Markdown files. Let's move into that. Fine. So here is the first one. So AI IDE landscape. There are a couple of things that is happening here. So first and foremost, this is actually a very large information, in fact, mind map, in fact. So let us first look at the IDE capabilities. The IDE capabilities of Windsurf, for an example, it starts with code completion, context understanding, autonomous coding, multi-language support, and problem-solving abilities. All these capabilities are present in the AI-enabled IDEs, or they are actually incorporating this day in and day out. So the things are moving towards these capabilities. So it covers almost all of the tasks that the developers are right now doing. So how can we use them? Next, we are going to dive into a contrasting scenario. The traditional IDEs that we are used to. Traditional IDEs include Visual Studio Code, Eclipse, IntelliJ IDEA. It could be even your Notepad++, in fact. It could be your Word editor. All these traditional IDEs don't have any kind of AI-enabled capabilities that I showed just a moment ago. The capability levels of these IDEs start from basic autocomplete, advanced suggestions, context generation, and autonomous development. This is something that we will be looking at in the next video. All these capabilities, we will be diving into it in the next video with a couple of examples that I had already pushed into this repo. Fine. Now coming to the interesting part. So what are these augmented AI IDEs? There are a couple of IDEs available in the market right now. So there is Codium, who is Windsurf, there is GitHub Copilot, there is Tab9, there is Amazon Code Whisperer, and in fact, even VS Code has got a lot of different extensions which can bring AI into your IDEs itself. So you must have been already getting used to this, you must have watched a lot of videos, but I felt that we need to really show the power of how to make the missions work. This is one of the underlying, the B-roll that I always use, make the missions to work, not the people. People have better things to do. We will find out better things to do, right? When it comes to fully agentic IDEs, so these IDEs like Windsurf, Cursor, and Built AI are fully agentic, meaning you can give them a task and it can go one step after other and it can complete the task. If you are curious about how these tasks are completed, I have a separate playlist where I cover Crew AI, where I go into the process of comparing the features of Windsurf IDE and then showing how to implement that using Crew AI agents. It's in fact very eye-opening, and everybody can learn it right now because you can actually code Crew AI agents using Windsurf IDE itself. So the agents can actually create more agents. Only thing is you are going to ask them to do it. It's one of the revolution that we are again entering into. In the Industrial Revolution, we had machines creating new machines, but humans were there in the middle, right? We still had to give the design to the machine. We had to control the machines, right? The same thing we are going to do right now. And we are truly going to control the GPUs, the CPUs, and the terminals with which we have been working. When it comes to specialized AI development platforms, we have OpenAI Codex, Anthropic Claude, Google Bard, and DeepMind AlphaCode. These are all various platforms that you can develop and work in detail with AI development. Apart from that, there is a slew of frameworks like Python, PyTorch, Transformers, and in case of Rust, we have Candle. In case of Java, there is a separate. C++ also has got its own development environments or frameworks to work on large language models. In fact, the C++ Llama CPP package is one of the breakthrough framework that enabled the model to be loaded on the CPUs. So fine, we are now having an idea on the types of AI-enabled IDEs. What I wanted to tell you is this entire presentation, this entire mind map was not created by me. It was created by Windsurf. And another important point I wanted to share is the Markdown format that you're looking at here. It is using a format called as flowchart, which is again using an open source way to render these mind maps for us. All of these things was done in less than 2 to 3 minutes. In fact, the Windsurf tool that you see here, I have already loaded the chat, and you can see the entire process that I have gone through to create these files. Why am I sharing this to you? Why am I telling that, okay, I used an IDE to create a presentation to show you? The reason is, even after creating all these presentations, there should be an intention or there should be an objective that we have to share to the AI. And then only it can do its action. Correct? So here, my objective is to make the AI IDEs as your new business command center. So what do you do in business? So what are the use cases that the AI-enabled IDEs like Windsurf can automate? So that's what we are going to see next. And that too is done with help of Windsurf. Here you see that the AI-enabled IDE's business impact. It is actually having an impact on a lot of different areas, starting from system integration, especially the database connection, which I had emphasized in my previous video, that if you are a non-tech business leader, get access to the database and start getting your own insights. It's very important. The report generation process, the predictive analysis, especially the data analytics and the business analytics, is completely impacted by the AI-enabled IDEs. When it comes to development, code generation, test automation, especially if you give Windsurf a code, a Python, Rust, or whatever code that your development team has typed, and if you asked for a test cases for that, it will be able to provide you wonderful test cases. This has been one of a challenge that most of the development team has been facing. They have the code ready, but they don't have the test cases. They did not have the resource or the time to allocate to create test cases. But test cases actually make a huge difference when it comes to a good development experience. So test automation is one of the important areas where AI-enabled IDEs do a wonderful job. Process automation. starting from workflow optimization to task scheduling, document processing, especially on the document processing. This is something that I wanted to emphasize again. Everything that you're seeing here is a process that I have taken. These boxes that you're seeing, the colors that you're seeing in the box, the font that you're seeing in the box, everything is a text that is written on top of an application. It's a pure string like ABCD that is actually creating all these colors, and it is able to create such a wonderful presentation in front of you. And you can actually view it without any additional application apart from a browser. So the open source technologies have skyrocketed, and the integration of open source technologies with the regular text-based files are phenomenal. In fact, before I even tried working on these kinds of flowchart, I tried to create a little more complex mind map using Excalibur. So that is one more open source application that I use to showcase these presentations. So all these presentations that I make are using Excalibur. So you can see it's part of Obsidian. This is an extension that I'm using through Obsidian, but Excalibur itself is a separate application. And also I have shared the Excalibur details in a separate video. So if you have any questions, I can explain it to you later. The point I wanted to make is the knowledge of text and how to use the text with various tools is very, very important. Fine. So we had discussed about the two things, the types of AI-enabled IDEs that is present in the market right now, their capabilities, and also we saw the AI-enabled IDEs business impact. Okay, but this is all at a very high level, right? So what if you really wanted to know what exact things that these AI-enabled IDEs can do? And again, this is where it all started. So what I was thinking is, I wanted to make a good video on Windsurf, and then I was searching for some inspirations, and suddenly it struck me, okay, what is one thing that can have a huge amount of impact on the job market, on the human efficiency, on the machine efficiency? Then it struck me. Most of the activities that we are doing today around the world, the applications that is written, the programs that are running are all geared towards only one particular objective, that is to service the customer. Everybody has one or the other customer, right? In order to service the customer, we create a lot of products, and to ensure that the products are being used and sold and has a good deal of profit, we need to do a lot of analysis. Think about it. This is what the entire business landscape is all about. You need to finally get the bottom line on the positive side. And how to get the bottom line on the positive side? There are many ways, and one of the ways is to reduce the expense. The other way is to increase your sales, which anyway the sales team will be doing it. But here, the expense part comes from the efficiency. And how to increase the efficiency? That comes from your automation capability and the way you can use the technological transformation. AI-enabled IDEs can transform the technology at a phenomenal speed. So this is one of the basic use cases that I asked in the beginning. So it gave me 10 use cases, right? It gave me a simple website creation application that I can create. It told that it can create data analysis tools. So I had shown this dashboard in the earlier video where similar markdown file is used, and you can see the sales data, you can see the spider chart and also the pie chart that is created. All these things were created from this simple table that is present at the bottom. The code was done using Chart.js, and all of these things was created using Windsurf. So data analysis tools, you can start using it with Windsurf. You can automate scripts. I had tried working with a couple of scripts, not just Python scripts, even shell scripts, even new age scripts, including Haskell. It was able to do a very good job. So it has got multi-language support. It has got a lot of customization options because the agents are instructing the large language models to give you the code. So directly the large language models are not developing anything. It is controlled by a middleware called as agents. If you are curious about agents, do look at my another one playlist of Crew AI. I will also be attaching the videos along with this video in the description. Take a look at that. You will understand what's going on. Learning to code this middleware is where the future is. So agents are going to be kind of a front end to the back end that will be completely abstracted. Then comes database management. So where you can work with the various kinds of databases. There are so many different databases right now available, from a very basic SQLite database that is right there in your file system itself, in your folder itself, to a very complex big data database like Hadoop. All of these things are text-based, in fact, and yeah, it looks complex. The query looks very tedious, etc. But don't worry about those things. All you need to do is ask Windsurf to write the query to you in English, and it will be able to provide it to you. Then comes the API integration. So as I was telling you, this chart got rendered here because I used an API. Let me show you. So let me go back to Windsurf, and let me show you the file that is rendering it. So the file that is rendering that chart is e-commerce dashboard. Yeah, this is the file, and you are seeing the file right now, and you will see that this particular chart, this particular line has become this particular bar chart. Interesting, isn't it? If you look at this particular part, let me try to zoom in so that you guys can see it better. It is actually using API call to quickchart.io/chart. So this is the API call it is doing, and it is sending this data to that particular API endpoint, and then it is rendering it here. It's not that you need to use only QuickChart. There are other API rendering tools and technologies available out there that you can use for rendering these charts. Let's go back. API integration has a lot of implications these days. Everything has an API attached to it. Knowing and understanding this will help you a lot when you are going to try and work. If you're a business, non-coding technical person, non-technical person, then knowing these things are available to you itself is going to change the way you work. Report generation. We all love reports. We all want reports, right? We all want to take decisions. We want what is happening in our organization, in our team, in the market outside. We all want to know this, and the data is out there. Someone has to collect it, someone has to put it on a chart, and someone has to give it to you. And it's going to be created by yourself right now. All you need is a proper understanding of how the AI works, the workflow around the AI. You need to start learning about how to use AI to do all the steps of getting the data, putting it in a data file. It could be a simple text file or an Excel file, whichever you are comfortable with, and then asking the AI to create the charts for you. You don't need to do even analysis. It can actually do it for you. In fact, that is called generated automated reports. You can process forms. If you are working on any kind of applications that you are doing it routinely, you can create a logic from Windsurf itself, and you can keep it ready for the next form filling process. Data migration. You might want to migrate from Hadoop to a regular Postgres or a SQLite database. Ask Windsurf, and it will be able to do it for you, and you'll be able to get the things done really fast. You don't need to wait for the developers to really do anything. All you need is ensure that your IT guys give you the access, show you how to do it, and even if they don't show you how to do it, once they give you the access, you can use that to work with Windsurf IDE and get the things done. Again, you need to have a tech consultant if the AI starts failing. You need to know how to debug the process that is happening at the backend. The developers are going to be radically shifting their skill sets right now. So I had been discussing about this in the earlier video, and now this video is about, it's going to concentrate mainly on the business leaders to show what the AI IDEs can do. Then comes workflow automation. So you can automate a lot of workflow. It can be a simple report generation as we saw here, or it can be a much more complex reporting process, form filling process. It could be invoice generation. We'll be looking at that details in the next details and next file. And comes business analytics. Business analytics is where I was talking about from the beginning, right? It's all about how to analyze a business, what's going to happen next, what has happened in the past, how to improve, how to track and get the things done. Cascade is the feature in Windsurf that is doing all this stuff. And Cascade was kind enough to tell me how to actually use it. So it itself told me the manual, it became the manual to me, and it showed that, okay, be specific, try to refine iteratively, don't try to get everything at a single go. So as I was telling you, when initially I was trying to get this chart, it actually failed. It gave me this gibberish. But I had to go back, I had to tell the challenge to the Windsurf again, and it gave me the option. And believe me, the option was to change some simple things in the text. It is always the text which is going to be the culprit. So instead of using curly braces, it is now using this %27 and %3a. So these braces are actually represented as %3a and %27 inside the computer or inside the processor, and that's how GitHub was able to render it properly. These kinds of knowledge I learned a lot when I was working with Windsurf. So you need to have a very good note-taking capacity also. So you need to maintain notes. I use Obsidian. Obsidian is a free open source note-taking app. If you have any questions on that, do let me know. I would be happy to help you and give you some directions. Also, I will try to give a link to one of the important Obsidian resources in the description. Do take a look at that. Next is ask questions. You need to ask questions to Windsurf. It can answer you. It will give you the explanations. It will tell you what is happening at the backend. Always test and validate. So these are the things that Windsurf had told me how to use it. Documentation, as I told you right now, you need to take notes, you need to back up, and you need to have the maintenance going on. Fine. So that was again one level deeper into this. But now I asked Windsurf to further give me some 50 different applications. So it went into detail. This file, extended business tasks, is the detail which starts with document management, and under each of these headings, there were around 8 to 10 different applications. So document template generator, document version control, contract generator, document converter. In fact, I had tried to work with Windsurf to modify one of the applications that I was presenting it to a government body. So the government body wanted a particular kind of a format in a particular form, and it had given me a document, docx, Microsoft docx. All I need to do was to give it to Windsurf. It converted the docx to text file first, using the tools, open source tools, and then it modified and answered all the questions, and then it converted back to docx. So I did not touch or opened the Microsoft Word or LibreOffice. So it was all done through Windsurf. Customer relations. So customer feedback system, email campaign manager, there are lots of tools and templates that is shared by Crew AI. Even if you ask in Windsurf also, you will get a lot of information on how you can do these marketing related tasks with AI. Financial tools, invoice generator, expense tracker, budget forecasting, payment reminder system, all of these things can be automated with the help of the IDE. Whichever you have been doing with your Excel sheet can now be handed over to the AI, and the AI can help you do that. Instead of 2 people working or 3 people working, it can be 1 person working, and a very powerful mission that is going to be working for that 1 person. We have employee management, HR management process, the leave management system, the performance review tool, the training tracker, all these tools and trackers. If you think back, all these tools and applications have been created into various services or various web pages and web applications in your organization, right? Now, think about all those applications completely getting replaced by something which looks like a text editor. It might sound daunting. You may not be able to believe that, okay, a text editor can replace all these applications. But we have been always moving towards such technologies, right? And this is one such technology where the editor, a text editor, is going to be a very huge competitor to something like a browser. So this was not something, in fact, this text editor itself is a browser. So it is actually seen as a text editor here, but the Windsurf itself is written on top of Chromium browser. So if you guys are curious, you can actually do some research in Windsurf itself to ask about how it is developed. And I did that also. So if you are curious, you can actually go back and you can actually look at the Windsurf tech. If you look at this particular file, I had asked a lot of questions on the development aspects of Windsurf, and it gave me a good deal of answers. But yeah, when it went to much more technical, it told that it will not be able to answer. So I apologize, but I cannot disclose the specific details about underlying technology. Yeah, I'm pretty curious in these things. Fine. So let us actually go forward. When it comes to project management, we have task scheduler, resource allocations, meeting schedulers, marketing tools, SEO analysis, campaign ROI, inventory management, stock level tracker, even stock levels. So when the stock comes, there are ways to even analyze your stocks. You can actually get the data of the stock that you want to analyze. You can scrape using the agent tools and get the stock data for past 10 to 15 years, whichever you are able to get your hands on, and then you can let the AI to do the analysis. So the same way you can analyze your inventory also, quality assurance, all these things, complaints tracker, the customer complaint tracker, all of these things can be worked upon from the text editor. Again, the browser-based web applications are slowly moving into the editor. At this moment, it might actually look daunting. So I just run through some 50 different applications. I had shown you some great deal of mind maps. This all might sound a kind of unreachable scenarios. If you are if you reach to this part of the video, you might actually think, okay, is this really going to happen? But the question is, it's not that it's really going to happen, it's actually happening. In fact, most of these things, even myself, I am not completely a technical background person, but I learned about these technologies before 2 to 3 years, and I started completely investing my time into making the machines work. Instead of, yes, you need to learn the languages, you need to understand the underlying concepts of computer science, underlying concepts of how the processor, how the various applications interact, how the text gets formatted. It might look, much difficult, but it's like learning a new language. If you're going to a new world, a new country, you will actually dive into that language and learn about that. The same way, the only difference is in case of AI, the new country is going to come to you. You're not going to go to that country. So the AI is going to come to you, meaning you have to be ready to be able to talk its language. and its language is machine language, right? You don't need to learn assembly language for that matter. You don't need to worry about that, but you need to know how you need to communicate with machines, and it's always about solving the problems. If you go back and if you look at to how to request these solutions, you can see that it starts with describe your need. You don't need to be very concerned about the details of machine language and all this stuff. Just describe your need, provide the examples like what you are looking for, and specify the requirements very clearly, and request the documentations for whatever it is doing. This is very similar to what you will do to get the details from a report from a junior developer or from a different software development team, right? The only difference is that there people are going to work and give the report or the data or the application to you, but here the AI itself is going to do the development in front of you, and it is going to give you the application. So I believe that in this discussion we had quite a deal of the information on the types of AI-enabled IDEs, the impact that the IDEs can have, the varieties of business-related activities that can be automated with help of AI, and also much more detailed information on the various parts or various tasks that can be automated inside each and every department inside your organization. It's just the beginning, right? There are lots of other things are going to come. So we are just in the beginning of this cycle. So going back to the presentation. So as I was telling you, this video is going to be mainly about the 50 different tasks that Windsurf can automate, and that's what I wanted to share. And in the next video, what I'm planning to do is I had worked upon some 10 to 12 different applications, and I will try to showcase some of the applications that I had developed and I had pushed to the GitHub repo. So